Hey guys, welcome back to Micho Makes. My name is Micho. I like to make stuff. Today I've got part number 96 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. This is the 1/8 scale massive model that we'll build together. Without further ado, let's just jump into this one. Alright, starting off, we've got our cover here. Back with some frames. Got our piece here, and it looks like it is the rear back fender. I believe this is the passenger side. So we've seen and done one of these before. And then we've got our book. Let's take a look at the book. All right, let's check it out. All right, as usual, I checked it out a little bit beforehand, and it looks like this is the article on the evolution of the hatchback. So Toyota and I guess Japanese models in general took inspiration from the VW Golfs. And really kind of took that and ran with it. You can obviously the 86s are hatchback models, but this showing off the variations of hatchbacks and how they've kind of evolved in Japan. This is the FX. In America, we had the FX16s. We had Coronas too as well. They had variations of the 5-door hatchbacks too as well. Make sure you guys can actually read that. It's in focus too as well if you want to pause it. But it's pretty interesting to kind of see that evolution. You have Coronas, the Corollas too as well. The first generation Sprinters too. But hatchbacks, I think they talk a lot about like how cargo space is really important, body style. There was concerns about people not having enough, aerodynamics and from hatchbacks, but I think from what you gain from the hatchback in general is pretty good and it's worth it. But it's pretty cool to see that kind of evolution of how all these cars came about, where hatchbacks are something that now are popularized today still. And then you've got an article on the Aqua. It looks like a Prius because it is a Prius. Basically, it's a Prius C, which is what they call it in America, but they call it Aqua in Japan. I didn't really know too much about the Prius Cs. I don't even know why they actually named it like that. But it is technically a Prius, but it is a, I guess, lower model. More affordable version of the Prius, and they called it the Aqua to kind of invoke a clean driving experience, I'm assuming. So, I don't know too much about the hybrids or Priuses, so it looks nice, but it looks like more of an affordable model, affordable hybrid. I never thought that Priuses were that unaffordable, but maybe I'm mistaken. So go ahead and pause there if you want to read the article too as well. And then jumping right into the part, you can see we have the rear quarter panel here. We're putting on the emblem again too as well. Literally just attaching it. A lot of screw spots. And we're done for the part. I don't even think we're doing window attachments on this one yet. Yeah, it doesn't look like it, or I can't remember if it's already attached. But what we also have is a little section on anti-lag, so ALS. Not the disease, but anti-lag systems are basically, and I know a little bit about these because I really liked Rally back in the day, WRC, and figured out like what the heck the whole popping and firing of the exhaust was. But it's an anti-lag system that's basically when you have a turbocharged car, you want to keep the turbo spinning, the snail spinning all the time. And the way they do that is actually they force gasoline or the fuel into the engine faster, and it keeps the revs up, which actually creates a back pressure of not fully burn gasoline into the exhaust and actually keeps the revs up, keeps the turbo spinning, which actually produces more power, but also then introduces fuel into the exhaust pipe, which then burns and fires, and that's why you get these crazy flames and popping sounds that you'll hear from rally cars, because they're trying to keep they usually have to, the reason why they use lighter engines and more, there's regulations around that too as well. There's usually a lighter engine. It's going to be a smaller, liter engine, so they'll use bigger turbos in there, and then to combat the fact that with turbos there's a lag for that to spin up to actually produce the power that they need. They'll introduce an anti-lag system, which you will force the turbo to keep spinning, so you even at lower speeds when you're braking. That's where you hear the you'll hear the popping sound. Is because when they're braking, the car is actually forcing more fuel in there in order to keep the turbo spinning up, so that when they get back on gas, there's no weird wind up that they have to kind of wait to get the revs up to a certain limit. So it's very inventive, but what it does do is puts a lot of wear and tear on the turbos. So you could easily burn, if you have an ALS system or anti-lag system built on a car, you'll burn out your turbo very quickly. So it's a really cool article about kind of explaining that, and rally too as well, and why people use it. People will put it on cars now just for fun and make loud noises and annoy a lot of people. So it really is for off-road use, but it's still pretty cool how they kind of explain how anti-lag works too as well. So let's jump right in the part after looking at this. It should be pretty quick one day. All right, starting off, we've seen this all before, but it's the other side, and we don't actually have a gas cap to assemble this time. So it is the rear quarter panel here. Nice and metal too as well. You can take a look, marked L on the side there for left, but it's a very, very high quality piece. Painted very well. And we've got a little badging here. Sure can grab it out of here without destroying it. Now, one thing we did run into last time was that there was a little bit of a paint issue that would be pretty unfortunately noticeable on the other one, and I had to kind of go at it and paint it again. We do have a little bit of a bump there, a little sprue mark, but I'm not too concerned. And the good thing is it's not on the top side. That would have been really kind of bad to have it at the top side, which it was last time, and it was pretty noticeable, but this one looks really good. So we'll probably not do anything with that one. Then along with those parts, just those two pieces, we have some AP screws and some ALM screws. All right, let's get started. All right, first part is we're just taking the badge here, placing it right on the side there. Again, looks pretty good. It is not a friction fit, so we do have to take those AP screws and just quickly attach it to the side. There that is. And we are all attached on this side here. So now I just got to grab the body and we can get this attached. All right, got the body here. I forgot we actually had already done the window. I think it was the last part. So all we're doing really is just flipping this up here and just matching these screw holes right to the side. It's pretty simple and almost kind of locks everything in because the way the body lines are. That's why they had us do this other side first, is because we had to kind of get everything situated in here, and this is kind of basically lock everything in. You can see how nice these body lines are right here. So once we get that attached, I got to go through with the side. I'm going to reposition everything after getting this attached, and then get these ALM screws attached to the side. So give me 1 second here. All right, it might be hard for you guys to see, but we've got to attach him just right here. Inside the body. Gotta open the door to get into this screw right here. Okay, got all those screws in there. Kind of hard to see. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at the next step. I don't think there's much. Oh, okay. Well, the only reason why I thought there was another step was because we have usually I get one extra screw, but there are 3 this time, so I'm just gonna hang on to those just in case. But looks like we have completed part number 96 with that side fender. Let me pull this out real quick. Let's take a look at it. Real awesome. Look at that. Kind of an extreme close-up, but you can see how clean this looks. Look at that clean body line right here. Looks really good. The badging and everything. Yeah, that looks really good. So, right now we have a complete kind of exterior. Obviously, we don't have the front fenders yet, but you can kind of tell where the body is heading. We are getting really close. Obviously, we only have 110 parts, and we're at part number 96. So, you can see how close we are to actually getting this done. But a lot more parts to do. We're almost there, but thanks for hanging out and sticking around. The next step is actually a pretty big one. You can see we've got the rear hatch going on there too as well. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be gas shocks or anything like that, but it looks like it's just going to be the shell here that we have for the rear hatch there too. So look forward to that in part number 97. Again, thanks again very much for joining me today. And I know this is a quick one with just this rear fender, but I do appreciate you guys sticking around. If you haven't liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't too as well. I really do appreciate your support. See you guys. Bye for now.